Well, one of the hallmarks of the life model concept is appreciation. Appreciation is huge. We say appreciation is the birthplace of joy. It is the place where when we can land in appreciation, even in difficulty, we can find peace and joy in all circumstances. And the Bible says that. It says, be thankful in all circumstances, for this is the will of God. And it's such a stabilizing place to be. And so that's going to be the topic of our conversation today. If you're new here, I'm Monica with CFT Institute. We train therapists, counselors, and spiritual leaders in a framework approach that combines neuroscience with faith. So let's dive in. I am joined today by my longtime friend, Marty Webb. Marty and I met many years ago, and then we're just getting reacquainted recently. And I heard about your new book, Marty. So I said, hey, get on the podcast. Let's talk. So welcome, Marty. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you, Monica. I'm glad to be with you. And it's a joy to finally connect like this. And I just trust it's the perfect timing for us to do this because I, too, love appreciation. So it's wonderful to be with you. Thank you.
Oh, so wonderful. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And so I'd love to start off the dialogue today. I know that the thing that really brought us together is a mutual love for this curriculum, the life model, which is rooted in biblical truths, but also grabbing a hold of the most modern neuroscience and helping us understand what it means to be truly alive and to live in unity and peace as believers with God and with one another. So I'd love to have our audience hear a little bit about how you came to know about the life model and how you utilize it in your own life and ministry.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in the church in a little small town in Colorado, and goodness, I was in church my whole life. And then I went into ministry. We ended up pastoring. And as I did that, I realized that I had broken areas in my life. My parents had divorced when I was young. And so I had broken areas that were just hindering me. And we happened to be pastoring in Southern Cal. And I was introduced to a woman who worked with Life Model Works. And so we started into our own counseling process, and I knew when I got into that was what I was called to be in the church, and that was my purpose. So I just pursued Life Model Works and just loved their concepts, and I loved them because they worked in my own life. And I knew the healing and wholeness that I'd received was so vital, and it was so good to use with people. And so I just have pursued that and that's over 30 some years ago. So I'm very grateful to be in it. And then later on, I came into the neuroscience part of it. So I'm excited to add that piece in. And that's when I, decided there was time to really maybe think about making it a book, writing a book about it. So.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. So a lot of years in ministry, and 30 years ago, you learned about life model. That's amazing. I know the concepts have been out there for upwards of 50 years. So you were right there at the beginning, learning about these concepts and applying them in your ministry. So as we kind of gear toward or start to move toward understanding more about your book and you telling us more about it, I'd love for you first to tell us, what is your ministry? What is it that is your life work? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as we pursued ministry, I went through a very difficult time in my life where my husband and we were in ministry, and we hit some rocky roads, and we did not fare well through them. And we ended up divorcing, and it was just a crisis in my life. And I was right in the middle of doing all the life model training and going through it myself. And so when I finished it, and we came out of that, I was at an age where I thought, what am I going to give away now? What am I going to do with the rest of my life? And so I decided in crisis, I'm going to provide a place where people can go to have healing and become whole after a crisis. And so we created a ministry called Triage Care Ministry. And so I ended up marrying a man that had been in our church in the 70s, 1975. And then his wife had passed of cancer. And so we came together after about 6 years. I'd been single. And so we have a ministry called Triage Care Ministry, and it's for people that are in crisis and don't know where to go. So to get help.
Oh, that is so wonderful, Marty. I love hearing that. It's so encouraging to see people like yourself who have not only been through something hard, and is especially in marriage, even that ends in divorce, and then come out of that into what the redemptive work that God wants to do through it could be. And so that's what we see you doing in your life, a redemptive work, Triage Care Ministries. And is this something, if somebody's listening and they think, hey, that's me, I need triage care, who can access these services, and where do they go to access them?
They can go to triagecareministry.com and just email us. And what we do is we have services we offer. We're trained in, we're not professionally trained with degrees, but we have done tons of certification and study and work. And so there's things offered on there for marriage, for inner healing, all different things. It's on there. You can see what it is. Or if you're interested in doing the new thing, the Joy Connective is our new piece on our website, which takes people through appreciation and gets them connected. And with the whole goal that they will be able then to walk through that, have community in it as well, and then begin their own groups. So all of that is on our website.
So this is both live and virtual?
Live and virtual. Well, they would email us from the website, and then we would get back in touch with them.
Yes. Yeah. And so if someone wants to access your services, do they come there to where you are, or do these services take place online?
Oh, no, both. We do both. I'm sorry. I misunderstood that. Yeah. We do both. We do quite a bit of Zoom. So.
Yeah, I wondered. And so what's wonderful, we have both, licensed professionals who are licensed through their state and can't really work outside of their state because that licensure holds them back, versus people like yourself who are trained in more of a pastoral approach to counseling and care ministry, and you can work with anyone all over the world. And so really it's about just anybody accessing triagecareministries.com.
That's right.
And finding out what you offer and if what they need fits that. That's wonderful. That's so wonderful, Marty. I'm glad to hear what you're doing and how you and your husband are doing this very redemptive and beautiful work. And out of that work has come a book. So tell us a little bit. I know right before we started the call, you started talking about your son and a question he asked you that really caused you to think, and it was, birthed this book. So tell us the story.
Well, in our latter stage of life, my son works on our website. He's our creative director, and we were having a short meeting, and he said to me, "Mom, what would your message be for legacy if you were to have a message? Because I've had a tendency to be at a lot of places and not hone in, and he was making me hone in, and immediately, what came to my mind was I would never minimize what appreciation does for the brain and for our walk with the Lord and our relationship with others." And he said to me, "Then, Mom, that's your message, develop it." And that's where basically I noticed that when I work with people individually, whether it's Zoom or personally together, that sometimes appreciation is minimized. It's like, oh yeah, we all know we need to appreciate more. And I started thinking about heaven, what heaven would be like, that it will be filled with appreciation, and it will be filled with people glorifying God. And there will be, what kind of a sound will that be? And, it says, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." If we're going to live kingdom principles, I thought appreciation is a kingdom principle to be brought to earth. And so with that, I just thought, this has to be a message that's stronger then, oh yeah, thank you. That was nice. And so as I began to develop that, I thought of ways and exercises that I thought could help people deepen that place where they could experience what it does. And that the Romans 12:2, that we would renew our minds and that they would become thoughts that were his thoughts, and we would create neuron pathways that would be the good pathways, not the negative. And so it comes through that practice. So that was what stimulated me to write the book, Appreciation Heaven's Language.
Oh, yes. It's wonderful. It's like there's this idea that there's so much information, and Life Model is so information heavy, right? There's so much that we can learn. And so to be able to hone it in on that one concept of, this is what I would love my legacy to be. I'd love to be able to say what appreciation is, how it's affected my life and how it works, so others can be impacted by it as well. So tell us, what is the name of the book and how do people get a hold of it?
The name of the book is Appreciation Heaven's Language, and it's by Marletha Webb. It's on Amazon. It can be purchased there. Or, if I'm out speaking, I just take it with me as well. But it is on Amazon. And we're creating right now, and it'll be out soon, a companion journal to it, and also leader's notes, so that there will be some guidance and being able to hand this off and have people do it. My whole goal is to have people reproduce this and begin doing it, because they have the capability, we all do, to appreciate and lead others into appreciation. So that's my goal of the book.
Wonderful. And I also have noticed that you've described the book as a bridge between neuroscience and spiritual formation. And so what made you feel like there was that bridge was missing? And what do you think it was costing people to not have a bridge between the two?
Well, as I was working with people through early years of using principles of Life Model Works, it was before the brain part came in. And when we would work with people, we would see them have healing, but we wouldn't necessarily see them thrive. And we wanted them to be able to thrive. And so then that's when they started doing the brain work, and Dr. Wilder started working, with Alan Shore from UCLA, and they started doing all the research. And when I got a hold of that piece, then it made total sense to me why some people struggled and others didn't. It was that they had the capacity to be able to have their relational circuits on, and some didn't. And it came through appreciation. And so what I see that they lost, that they gained through doing appreciation, was they gained intimacy with the Father. They heard from him themselves. They developed relationship with others and could share the goodness of God. And so in that learning to do that, they grew exponentially, because they too could hear the Lord. And so they matured and they became more resilient when chaos was happening in their lives. And it was another whole healing module to it that highly valuable.
That's wonderful. Yes, so valuable, right? It's like we can have these two separate things and they be valuable in themselves, but put them together and it's dynamite. It's powerful. So the next question I have for you, Marty, is this idea that gratitude and appreciation are oftentimes used interchangeably, but you're very intentional about using the word appreciation. What would you say is the difference, and why do you think that matters for the brain?
Well, gratitude, I think, is I thank someone for something, and that's it. It's kind of like the spark that ignites the fire and maybe turns the relational circuit on. But appreciation is the fuel that keeps it going. So it's the fuel that keeps that fire going. So, or another example that I just thought of this morning was, I have a pot roast for Sunday. It's nice I have that pot roast and I can put it in the oven, but we all know a pot roast tastes much better after many hours of simmering, and it's more flavorful. It's kind of that way with with gratitude and appreciation. Gratitude is the beginning and absolutely a door that opens us to having our relational circuits on. But with appreciation, it's lingering in it. What did I see? What did I hear? What did I smell? It's all those things pull that memory into a relational place where we can be thankful to God and share the goodness of His providing it and giving us it and sharing it with others, which then stimulates them to find the goodness in simple things as well. So that's how I would describe difference between gratitude and appreciation.
While you were talking, it made me think about just right brain to right brain interaction and how when someone thanks us and is polite to do so, it feels nice. We appreciate that they've been, they've shown us that gratitude. Or I'm thinking about, some of the thank you notes I've gotten recently for maybe a baby shower gift or a wedding gift or something like this. And I appreciate that they've sent these things. But when you know that the person who's writing you or the person who is telling you appreciation is from a deep place inside of them where they've really thought about it and what you've given to them or done with them has really impacted them, it has this extra level of relational spark. It leaves a residue. It leaves a sense of connection and bonding. And of course, we want to be polite and be gracious. But what I hear you saying is when we really feel the appreciation and then we write the letter, or we feel the appreciation and then we thank our friend for the gift or for the meal that we shared, there's something extra special that happens because appreciation really is the power behind it. That makes a ton of sense to me. And just to be able to apply it like that. Another big concept that we talk about is relational circuits. And in your book, you discuss the idea that appreciation actually strengthens relational circuits. So we know, Dr. Lehman came up with this idea of relational circuits, which is when the cingulate cortex is on and active and ready to connect, we're able to be with people and stay relational. And when it's off, we just want to make a problem, person, or feeling go away. Our mind is locked onto something upsetting. We're aggressively interrogating, judging, and fixing others, and so on and so on. And so for someone's listening and they may be thinking, my relational circuits are pretty much shut down right now or most of the time. What does this actually look like day to day to use appreciation to get the relational circuits back on? What would you say is the first step back to relational engagement?
Well, I think this goes back to, it seems so simple, and yet we don't do it, or we don't know to do it. We haven't been trained to do it, or we don't realize the awareness that helps us know what to do. In those moments, it's breathing, that wonderful thing of breathing and taking in, because the body is the canvas of the brain. So if we're uptight or if we're shut down, then we're not going to be in a relational place. We're going to be in those hardwired emotions we were given at birth that warn and inform us and are needed. They're definitely needed, but they're not relational. So what we do is we do breathing and calming and attuning and sitting quietly, being still, inviting the Lord to be with us in that environment, if you're alone, Jesus, come be with me, or let me just breathe and calm and sense your presence. When you do that, and then find something to be grateful for, whether it's your cup of coffee in the morning, a bird outside, or a cloud that is puffy and beautiful to look at, whatever it is, or a memory, then what happens is that comes forward and we're able then to appreciate that place. When we do that and savor it and settle into it, then our relational circuits become fully on. And it's that place where we have intimacy with God and others because we invite Him into those places and sharing it with others, which builds such strong unity and community. So that's how I would say, I think that's one of the easiest ways to get your relational circuits on. Music is another one. Worship is
I said, well said. Thank you. And yeah, worship is another way to do that, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 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 So I definitely connect to what you're saying. And I'm thinking back to when I was first trying to implement this appreciation skill in my own life. And my brain just didn't quite want to do the appreciating the cloud or the bird or, because my mind was saying, but look at the problem I'm facing. How is a bird in the sky going to correlate or relate to this big problem, the problem that felt really big for me? And it was in that experience that I started to understand it's really not about the bird or the cloud, which, by the way, are amazing if we really start to think about the world that we live in and the beauty of creation. It's quite incredible. We just get too used to nature and don't see the beauty in it. But that aside, I really started to understand that I could utilize something that seems simple and doesn't seem to correlate or be at the same level as the problem to use as appreciation to build my strength of self so that I can come back into a place of, it's not really about the bird or the cloud. It's about the fact that when I feel the appreciation about it, it helps my nervous system get back online so that I can be more relational. So it's a strategy. And I love it that you're explaining those things in this book. It sounds like this book is just chocked full of practical exercises. So I'd love for you to walk us through one, at least one, what's an appreciation practice that you use in the book, that you talk us through in the book, and what would it actually look like when someone sits down to do it?
Okay, I think I want to say, just to piggyback on what you just said as well, that was the thing that I noticed that changed my life, was being able to take the appreciation and just build on it. And then when the normal chaotic things would drive me nuts, and like I'd worry and I'd be concerned and I'd pray more, and not that prayer's bad. But when I kept doing the appreciation, I noticed that I had more resilience. It didn't bug me as much. It didn't bother me as much. And I could find something to appreciate. So it does piggyback, absolutely. And that probably was one of the strongest things for me, to really realize how simple appreciation is. And it alters our lives. It's like we didn't remember what we ate a week ago, but we ate and it nourished us. It's the same with appreciation. If we will use it, it will heal our brains and help us. And so that is really the core of I experienced it myself. It was so powerful. So with an exercise, well, one, there's so many, and it's hard to walk through. So I don't know if you just want me to talk through it and explain how that would be, or maybe we can.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of
okay.
Yeah, it's like a taste test, right? I mean, just so people can kind of get a sense of what is this book all about, and if I purchased it, what could I expect?
Okay, thank you, Monica. I have one in the book called Complaint to Appreciation Swap. And I thought, well, this is probably a good one because we all can find something to complain about, especially about a person at work or at church or, in the office or on Saturday or Sunday.
Spouse, or our spouse, or our children, or a neighbor.
That's right. So I created it this way. So the purpose of this exercise is to train your mind and tongue to replace life-draining words with life-giving words. And so what you would do is, you would write down your complaint. What's your complaint? Well, I can't believe my coworker never cleans up their mess. Okay, that's the complaint. The example would be that bugs me every day. So I don't like that. So I would identify something that I could appreciate in that person and dwell on that instead of the mess. And then I would let them know that, I really appreciate that you're sensitive to people on the phone. I like that a lot, even though you wouldn't say this, even though the mess is totally bugging you. You start to build, and the more you see good things, the smaller the bad things become. And so what ends up happening, if you can tell the person that that blesses you, every time you catch the complaint, then replace it with something good. That is so vital, because when you're used to doing it, your brain feels different. Your body feels different. When you're at angst with them and you don't like what they're doing, your body's more tense. You're more uptight. You're not have that sense of well-being, body, soul, and spirit. But when you can find something good and compliment them and let them know and be grateful for that, it just opens the relational circuits. It opens them up. It may even open them up to change. They may realize without you having to say a word. So that's an example of one that's just a simple one. But the good is what overcomes the bad, the negative. And, I think years ago they said that it takes 7 compliments to erase 1 negative. And so the more we do it, the more we share it with one another, the more our brains are healthy and we're living in peace and not strife and chaos. So that's an example of one of them.
Yes, I love that one. I'm going to use it. And so it's called Complaint to Appreciation. Is that what you called it?
Swap. Yeah, it's called Complaint to Appreciation Swap.
Complaint to Appreciation Swap. Okay. And so this is what I have to say about that. I love it. I'm going to use it. And I think the nuance in there is that, we could do that as just a rote exercise in our left brain and not really feel the appreciation. The idea behind it, I believe, is that you really need to feel it. It's not patronizing your coworker. It's not being dishonest with them about what you really feel and people pleasing them. It's more this idea that, no, I'm dealing with myself and my own maturity gap that is causing this weakness in somebody else or this perceived weakness to trigger me. And I'm choosing to be mature and healthy and see the good, not just focus on the bad. I'm actually retraining my brain to see the good so that eventually the negative is no longer in my periphery, because I'm so focused on the positive about who this person is and the benefit of who they are. The negativity about the things they do are no longer in my vision. So that's wonderful. I'm definitely going to use it. I love it. Thank you so much. And so I'm sure the book is so chocked full of more and more insights and exercises. So we'll have to definitely check that out. I'm excited to be able to offer it to some of the clients I serve and to read it myself, Marty. Thank you.
Monica, one of the things that I think that take it a step further, I think when we choose to appreciate someone and verbalize it, what it does to them is it opens them up. And so oftentimes the very thing that bugs us when we understand why they do what they do, it makes total sense. It isn't because they're flawed and messed up. It's because what's happened to them in their life has caused them to be a certain way. And we're all wired somewhat differently, but in general, that's what happens. So, it opens a door, which is part of the book too. It opens the door to be able to do evangelism with it. Where are you going to target people and compliment them and be Jesus to them, who loves with that Hesed love unconditionally? So I think it even goes farther. Yeah. It does so much for us, but it does for the other person too.
It's so great what you just said. I oftentimes feel like when I'm talking to somebody who loves this model and this approach as much as I do, that I'm talking to myself. Like what you just said, I probably have said verbatim. We just finished a 4-week class at our church on building belonging. And that's what I said to everyone. I said, hey, this is how Jesus isn't annoyed with people. Okay. So we get annoyed with the messy desk or the neighbor who doesn't mow their lawn or our spouse who doesn't, clean up the kitchen. But Jesus doesn't get annoyed with people. Jesus is tender to our weaknesses. If Jesus was going to get annoyed, he would be annoyed at us too. right? We're all annoying. We all have maturity gaps. And so there's this idea that when we're practicing appreciation, we can live in grace and really emulate the fruit of the Spirit, which is what we're wanting to do. This is how we fulfill the Great Commission. I love that. That's excellent. And so I'm thinking about what you said a little bit ago, and even at the beginning of this episode, that you've been in ministry for a long time, 40 years. You've walked through loss, depression, rebuilding. I mean, to lose a marriage, even any time, is really hard. But when you're married to somebody that you're in ministry with, that's not the expectation, right? That this isn't going to work out, and you're trying to help other people stay in their marriages. So to get to that point must have just been devastatingly hard. So I'm assuming you talk about this in the book, how you used appreciation in that time to get yourself through, to accent your own healing, that it's not just a theory of something kind of nice that you believe, but something you've actually lived. Can you speak to that?
I didn't actually write it in that book because I'm planning to do it in the next. But I believe I've got another one coming. I'm not sure. We'll see. But I plan to tell more in that one. But I do have this example that would show you, and it's fairly recent. I was in Colorado, and I was invited to come back to my home place, which was a farm. And my brother and sister actually still live on the farm I grew up on, and it had a lot of pain for me. And so I decided I'm going to go back, and I'm going to brave it, and I'm going to be there, and I'm going to spend the night there. That I have not slept in that home in like 60 years. So I did. Wow. And when I got there, it was so fun because we were standing outside on the farm, and there's a silo, and I could see the house and all of that. And I was doing this as appreciation memory not too many weeks ago. And so I'm standing there with them. It's a chilly night, and the dog is there, and there is a chicken coop being delivered on the property, a beautiful new chicken coop. And so we're standing there, and as I was doing the memory, I said, Lord, what do you have for me in this memory? That I'm here, I'm back in a moment of time that was not fun for me, and but I'm here. And so as they brought in that chicken coop, and those little chicks went from their little crate to that big chicken coop, I felt the Lord say to me, I was with you all along. And where you started here in small little town of Sterling, Colorado, I have taken you to places that I had purpose for you for, and none of that hindered you. I was with you all along. I can't even tell you how much more healing. So you ask about healing. Healing goes on. I mean, that was just, look how long ago that was, 60 years, and yet such a piece of healing through appreciation, of appreciating the time to go back. So in that sense, that's the story. I will probably add that to my other book, but that's how it happens. Healing is ongoing. So it's just a heart to be open to be healed and feel and do something with it and connect with God and others. But really, you need people to connect with you to help you through those crises. And I had that during my time. God provided miraculously through my own life what I walked through. I look back and I see where his hand was in, his goodness was on me, and he was with me in the midst of the very, very hard time. So yes, it's amazing. You practice this and you build your resiliency and finding those things to appreciate, finding something in the good, finding, something that happened in that situation that was good. So absolutely. It's been a lifeline for me.
Lifeline. And I know that one of the biggest, if not the biggest question we all ask as humans is, why do these bad things happen to us, right? Like, what is this about? If God is good, why are bad things happening? And so what I'm hearing you say is, hey, bad things are happening and life is hard, and we use appreciation to see God in the midst of it, and that brings us deeper into connection with him. And you spoke a moment ago also about just the kingdom of God and evangelism and what it means to share the good news. And I think in the book, you wrote the concept of bringing kingdom life to earth and touching our individual worlds with deeper connection. And so I want to take that a little deeper about, in terms of how we use this concept in the counseling room, both as pastoral ministers and licensed professionals, no matter what approaches we're using or what our education or training has been. We as professionals are using this concept to take things deeper. And so we're talking to, helping professionals here on this podcast and these episodes. How do you think a helping professional can bring appreciation into the therapeutic relationship itself? How do you think we can apply these things in the counseling room in real time?
Well, I can share with you what I've been doing, and that is when people come, we have a little bit of small talk, and then we just quiet. We definitely quiet, because I know people are nervous when they come. They are anxious. They don't know what to expect. They may not be feeling good that day. They may have been in crisis before they came. So we quiet. We actually take some time, quite a bit of time to quiet, calm our bodies. And if playing a song helps, we do that. Whatever it is that I'm sensing that we can use in that moment to attune together and to know that it's a safe place for them. I think that's a key thing, very key. We know it is. People aren't going to share if it's not safe. But there's something about coming together and both of you hearing the Lord, attuning together and sharing what you were appreciative for and what God spoke to you or what he would say to you today. And those things just prepare the way. Then, as you're in it, in that therapeutic moment, I feel like that's when Jesus, that's my frame of reference. I know some places might not be able to use that. I don't know how that works in their setting, but absolutely sensing that Jesus is there, and he was there, and hearing him and watching him help you through those stuck places that gets you unstuck. Between the two, the inner healing piece and the appreciation, you're going to thrive. It may take a little time, but it will happen. And it's the whole ball of what we need to, that everything is in that mixture to bring us into resilience and maturity so that we can have intimacy with the Father and others. So that's the way I use it, is in that setting. And then I may give them an assignment. Who can find one thing you're going to appreciate this week? Or maybe 3 times a day if you really could. But some people could only handle one a week. And that's okay. That's okay. They did that, and then they graduated to new places. So, and I also think for the counselors, I have one office that is using this. He's a financial advisor, and he has a large office. And he's pulling everybody together and doing an appreciation of people in their meeting before they debrief. And he says it's altered their entire staff. So
Wow.
it works. Those are principles that work. But that's how I see it, and that's how I use it, is just all quieting together. It can be on Zoom or, however you're doing it, but that works.
Yeah, in-person Zoom. Yes. And so it's just a skill and an application that when we couple it with even our inner healing models or other experiential types of therapy, it accents and really drives it home and brings depth to the experience. It's wonderful. And I'm also thinking about how helping professionals who are listening could use doing this in their own lives, right? In our own lives. I know, even last night I came home after many, 4 long days in the office, and I was so tired. I've been seeing all these, reels on Instagram of therapists just like, at the end of my day, I'm so tired, right? And we can oftentimes come home and, watch television or eat some food or zone out and isolate. And maybe we're not actually doing what we need to do to replenish ourselves. What is an idea that you have of something that we can do as helping professionals, not just for the clients, but for ourselves, that would really help us to accent and actualize the gift of appreciation in our own lives?
I think one of the things they can do is just take time to come home and just breathe and be quiet and sit quietly and invite Jesus to be with them and just sit and be still and know that he is God. And that there's in that place, there's that strength that he brings. And maybe even saying, Jesus, show me a place today that was really a good place. Maybe show me a place where you showed up. Or maybe show me a place where you used this and someone changed. And sit in and enjoy that and take that in and be grateful that it's certainly not a I'm puffed up kind of thing. It's more of a humbling thing that, God, you're with me. And you did that. You and me, we did that together. And that's, to me, that's powerful. Sometimes just going to bed and saying, Lord, what were the good things today? What would you want me to think about as I go to sleep tonight? Rather than worrying about what tomorrow's going to be, go to sleep thinking about what's good and where he was faithful and where was his goodness in the day. So that would be my suggestion for doing that. And also just worship, reading the word, but sometimes maybe having someone read the word with you, to you, because now they're attuning with you and you're getting, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Taking in those kinds of verses and being connected to people and being connected to the Lord, and he replenishes.
Amen.
He leads us beside those still waters. He restores our soul.
Yes. What you're saying reminds me of that Saint Ignatius's prayer of examen. I believe that where you're scanning through your day, you're thinking about how you didn't show up like yourself and how you wish you would have showed up. And then, kind of reworking that, but then going through each moment and thinking about what are the things that I appreciate. I mean, this isn't a new practice, right? This is an ancient practice. We've known even before the neuroscience, the study of the brain came out, that appreciation was something that was beneficial for a human, both psychologically and spiritually. And so I'm thankful, Marty, for you and for the fact that you've walked with the Lord this many years and have been anointed for the position that you're in. And you have accessed this curriculum and applied it, the life model, you've applied it to the healing work that you're doing in the lives of others, and even that you've seen God facilitate in your own life. So I'm really thankful for this book, Appreciation, Heaven's Language. It was wonderful to talk with you about it all today. It was really good to reconnect, and I know this episode is going to be a blessing to so many. Thank you so much, Marty.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. And I think it's this easy. Just look for the good. Find something good and think upon it.
Amen. Thank you so much. Well, thank you, audience, for tuning in today. If you want to go deeper with the life model and these 30 core concepts, we have a full series of trainings at cftinstitute.com. You can start exploring for free on our Learning Hub. So just remember, healing spreads when counselors live in joy, and we'll see you on the next episode.